The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, it's summertime in Vancouver, and everything is beautiful. But all I can think about is the Vancouver Canucks. Who's gonna make the opening night roster? Can Petey bounce back? Can Adam Foote coach this team back to the playoffs? Is Tom Willander ready for the NHL? Can Demko stay healthy? So instead of going outside and enjoying the great outdoors, I'm gonna do what any reasonable fan would do. I'm locking myself inside and playing NHL 25's franchise mode until I win the Stanley Cup with the Vancouver Canucks. Now, I don't usually make this kind of content, and don't worry, real Canucks coverage is coming soon, but first, I've got a cup to win. Now, before I start, I've got to go over a couple rules that I've given myself to help keep this simulation as realistic as possible. Rule number 1, I'm not allowed to trade any of the Canucks core players prior to winning the Stanley Cup. That means Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, Thatcher Demko, Brock Besser, and Filip Hronek all have to stay on the team. If I hoist the cup without even one of those guys, it doesn't count and I have to start again. And rule number 2, just like the Canucks did in real life, I have to bring in someone with 0 NHL head coaching experience to lead the team. Now, I would just hire Adam Foote, but unfortunately, he's not in the game, so I had to scroll through hundreds of EA-generated coaches trying to find one who mirrored Foote as closely as possible, and after a long, thorough search, I found our guy. Just like Foote, he was an assistant coach the season prior, he's 54 years old, he has no NHL head coaching experience, and he has a defensive coaching style. Meet Jason Horton. He even kind of looks like Foote. Anyway, I offered him the job and he accepted happily. However, I wasn't done there. I still needed to fill out the rest of the coaching staff, but after wasting another hour scrolling through options and failing to find the perfect combination of fake people, I shifted my focus and began searching for the funniest names possible, and that's how I found Jesus Hatcher and Terry Generous. Hatcher takes more of a balanced approach to coaching, focusing on both offense and defense. Although a B- isn't great, he does specialize on the power play, and he also loves Filip Hronek. But if I'm being real, I like him for one reason and one reason only: his name. Maybe he can work with some of the young guys and help turn one of them into a McJesus type player. If Jesus Hatcher can hatch a Jesus for this team, it'll all be worth it. Anyway, I offered him the assistant job and he accepted. Terry Generous is an offensive-minded coach whose B- teaching rating could really help get players like Elias Pettersson, Nils Höglander, and Dakota Joshua back to their scoring ways. He's got a good power play rating, an even better penalty kill rating, and even though he's a coach for the forwards, his favorite player is Quinn Hughes, which, I can't really blame him for. But even still, with all that being said, the number one reason I like him is because of his name. A guy like Terry Generous is exactly what this team needs, so I offered him the associate coaching job, and ironically, he was quite rude about accepting it. Oh, and I also hired Gage Slychuk, Taylor Corbin, and Adam to coach in Abbotsford, so yeah, that's the coaching staff. Now, the big question surrounding the real-life Canucks at the time of making this video is whether they'll be able to acquire a true second-line center before the upcoming season, so they don't have to roll the dice by handing that responsibility to the unproven and fairly injury-prone Filip Chytil. However, with no surefire options remaining in free agency, if they want to land a player capable of filling that 2C role, they're going to have to trade for one, and that's going to be expensive. Second-line centers are a hot commodity in the NHL right now, and if the Canucks want one, they're going to have to give up quite a bit. A first-round pick, one of their top-tier prospects, and depending on the player they're trading for, maybe even more. Now would be a good time to mention that I took over this team on July 9th, so any real-life trades or signings made after that date won't be reflected in this series. So, considering I don't have any cap space to work with right now, here's what I'm gonna do. Nothing. Sorry, at least for now. I want to test the waters before making a wild decision. Who knows, maybe Chytil is primed and ready to be a 2C. I want to give him the opportunity before taking it away from him. I know that's very Terry Generous of me, but I just think it's the smart thing to do. So, I simmed into the future without making a single move, which I'm sure many of you find extremely boring of me, but don't worry, I've got a plan, just be patient. At the start of the season, new head coach Jason "Adam Foote" Horton reached out and told me he thinks he can get this team back to the playoffs. I agreed and then told him to focus on team bonding in case any of last season's issues are still lingering in the locker room, and he responded with,
"Sounds good to me. All of our players who make the team will have this focus."
Which reminded me, who the hell is going to be on the team next season? We have so many players right on the cusp of becoming NHL regulars. Elias Petey Pettersson, Linus Karlsson, Victor Mancini, Arshdeep Bains, Kirill Kudryavtsev. Is Jonathan Lekrimaki ready? Is Tom Willander ready? Is Braden Coots gonna shock everyone and make the team? It genuinely hurts my brain trying to imagine what the Canucks starting lineup is gonna look like on opening night. I really have no idea. And it doesn't help that the video game versions of Lekrimaki and Willander both developed into NHL-ready players over the offseason. It's good, I just don't have any room for them yet. I'm gonna have to stick them in Abbotsford to start the season. We'll figure out what to do with them later. But even with those guys down in the minors, figuring out the NHL line still gave me a headache. After many iterations, here's what I settled on. DeBrusk, Petey, and Besser on the first line, Kane, Chytil, and Garland on the second line. I'm putting faith in Ratu and letting him center the third line between Big Hog and Kiefer Sherwood. And then Joshua Bluger and O'Connor on the fourth line. For the defense, I went with the obvious choice of Quinn Hughes and Philip Hronik on the top pairing, but then I went a bit off the board. Call me crazy, but I want to give DPD top 4 minutes, so I stuck him on a line with the other DPD, Marcus MP3 Pettersson, to create the NHL's first Pettersson-only D pairing. Don't look that up. Then, obviously, I put Derek Forbort and Tyler Myers on the bottom pairing. And I had Linus Karlsson and Victor Mancini as healthy scratches. Okay, let's sim up to the trade deadline and see where we're at. And while that's simming, let me tell you a little bit about the sponsor of today's video, Manta Sleep. Manta makes sleep masks for people who actually want to sleep. Like really sleep. Their masks give you 100% blackout, an adjustable fit, and ultimate comfort, even if you're a side sleeper. I've been using mine every single night and it's been so helpful. It feels like shutting off the arena lights after a big win. Total darkness, pure bliss. If you're ready to sleep like a goalie after a shutout, calm and unbothered, grab your Manta sleep mask today and use my code NUCK10 for 10% off at checkout. Again, click the top link in the description of this video and use code NUCK10 for 10% off at checkout. Your future well-rested self will thank you. Alright, so after 64 games, the Canucks have a record of 34-25-5, which is good enough for second in the Pacific Division behind that sneaky little Oilers team over in Edmonton. Hughes is leading the team in points with 66, Besser's on pace for 40 goals, Kane's on pace for 30, Big Hog's already cracked 20. Abbotsford's struggling though, which isn't ideal, but whatever. Before we jump into the deadline though, we need to figure out what we're going to do with some of these expiring contracts. Thank you to these wonderful Nuckheads for supporting what I do by becoming channel members. If you want to become a channel member, all you have to do is click the join button down below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.